Okay, let's talk down under now, because Australia's new government has been reassuring the nation's coal industry. The new Minister for Climate Change, Greg Combat, told the Australian newspaper that it's not his job to shut down the coal industry, but he did say that the government would push ahead with a plan to cut a price on carbon emissions. Now, there certainly has been quite a bit of concern that the Labor Party alliance with the Greens would put more pressure on Australia's mining industry. Australia is the world's biggest coal exporter, and its mining sector certainly helped the economy weather the global recession. Well, let's get more on all of this. Phil Aiken is the chairman of the Australian business, which, as the name suggests, represents the interests of Australian business sector. Phil, welcome to BBC World News. Let me just start with the fact that, look, we know we've been talking about it. I've certainly been talking about it. Australia weathered this crisis very, very well. The only G20 not to go into recession. We know how it was done. China and India want to build something, we dig it up out of the ground. But how did Australia's business sector weather the crisis?
Well, I think you're right. Australia's resources business continue to do very well with China and India. But really, if you look at the Australian economy these days, 70% of the economy is services, and things like business education in Australia and financial services, where Australia is so well positioned into Asia, I think kept the local economy going very well.
I was just mentioning, of course, we've got the coalition. We know that with the Green Alliance, we know that the mining giants have been very worried over this tax on super profits. But given, of course, perhaps the green push, for other industries, is there concern within the Australian business community?
Well, I think overall the new government has been fairly positive of what it's said so far. I was in Australia last week, and I think overall all the things they're saying are very positive for business investment going forward. The government has agreed to a tax review, which will probably again look at the mining tax. And I think that shows the vibrant economy Australia is in these days, in that it can do those sort of things.
And just briefly also, going forward, I was reading some of the findings out of your report. 7 out of 10 of the Australian export markets, Asia. Perhaps no surprises there, right?
Yeah. Well, Australia these days, as you said, 7 out of 10. The UK is still, though, the 6th largest source for export. It's about the 7th coming the other way. And people forget that of Australia's foreign investment, the UK is the 2nd largest foreign investor in Australia. So Australia-European and Australia-UK economic trading is still very, very important.
Very high indeed. Okay, well, Phil Aiken, Chairman of Australian Business, thanks very much for joining us, Phil. We much appreciate that.